Okay, in this video, I want to go over the general information of transformation of function. So let lowercase a, b, h, and k be any real numbers, meaning that it doesn't matter what a, b, h, and k are, the way you do the transformation is they're going to be the same. It's just different numbers mean different results. And in the situations where you have to do multiple transformation, the order that you do one transformation at a time is the same order as doing the order of operation for equation that you have been doing ever since pre-algebra. So in this video, I want to break down the components of this general formula of function transformations. Now, whenever you're given a function and you are asked to do multiple transformation, you have to note that for any function, if your function f is multiplying by a number represented by the lowercase a, and if your lowercase a, let's just forget the plus and minus for now, if you have the lowercase a and your lowercase a is greater than positive 1, then your function is going to stretch vertically by a factor of, like whatever the a is equal to. If your number lowercase a is strictly between 0 and 1, then it is going to represent the vertical shrink, or it's also known as the vertical compression. In the third case, if you have any one of these two, if you have either the vertical stretch or vertical shrink, and you also have the fact that a is a negative number, then at the same time, your function will also be reflected vertically, which is also known as reflection about a horizontal line. And in most cases, it will be reflection about the x-axis. Now, the next component is the plus or minus b inside your function f. Now, the plus or minus b is similar to the component lowercase a, except that if your b is greater than 1, then it will represent a horizontal shrink or a horizontal compression. In another word, if b is strictly between 0 and 1, then your function is going to stretch horizontally by a factor of however many. If you have either one of these two, and you also have the fact that b is a negative number, then at the same time, your function will also be reflected horizontally or reflected about a vertical line. In most cases, it's about the y-axis. The next component is the plus or minus h. Now, the plus or minus h is what you have seen a lot in, in most of the problems that you do, because I don't know about you guys, but for me and my students, we are mostly given, x plus or minus something in a function that we are asked to do the transformations on. Now, inside your function f, if you have plus or minus, if you have plus h, well, the plus h is going to represent a translation to the left by h amount of units. So, for example, if h is 4, so you would have x plus 4 inside your function. So the plus 4 means your function will be shifted or translated to the left by 4 units. And of course, in a similar fashion, if you have minus h, then it's just going to be shifted and translated to the right by h amount of units. Lastly, the component plus or minus k, and this component is more straightforward than the plus or minus h, because the plus side and the minus side, in my understanding, they just represent the respective direction where your functions is translated. So if you have the plus k, then that means your function is going to be shifted or translated upward by k amount of units. If you have minus k, of course, oppositely, your function will be shifted or translated downward by that same amount of k units. And so, I know it can be a little confusing, but as long as you understand what each component stands for, then doing the transformations of any function given to you should be pretty easy, all right? But at the same time, my recommendation is to do one transformation at a time in order to not be confused in your work.